but I gotta get the go live button. Paul,
She said, "Let's go." That was the safe word.
stop yelling at me. I just got here and you're already yelling at me. I don't understand this. What? Hey guys,
What's up?
how you doing? Hashtag Nation. Good to see you guys. Oh, so yeah, it's time. It's that time, Paul. Before we get into the episode and before I kick it over to Paul, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to say thank you, number one, to all the individuals that are the channel members. 50% of your donations for April ended up going in the big pool that we have for the Punt Foundation, which we are going to end up donating once all of this chaos ends up alleviating. You know the word. I can't say it. Or this video.
Yeah, we'll get demonetized.
Yeah, this video will be thrown out. But we just wanted to thank you all and thank all the individuals that are continuing to contribute to the channel membership. We're going to have a lot of Fast and Furious episodes for you coming up in the upcoming weeks. But as we want to just tell you guys, we got to give our shout outs to everybody. In the practice squad, we got individuals, Shivas, Harvey, Steely Fan. That's a fun, I love that name.
I love that one.
We got German Buffalo and Rick Beam. Coming up on the practice squad, making the 55-man roster, we got Scott, Stefan, and Tim Ellington in the house. Thank you, guys. Members of the Pro Bowl, Pierre Martinez, Tony B., Joe from Believers Talk, and Tim Braunschneidel?
That's a good try. That's a good try.
I'm awful. All right. And the All-Pro selection, who was, you know what, the most improved player on the Hashtag Nation right now, Richard Smith, who was on the 55-man roster. He ended up, doing a lot in the offseason. He's now an All-Pro selection. Thank you very much. And our Hall of Famers, Apex, Hendog, Donnie Brook, Evan Anderson, Paul Berg, and Grant. I think Grange was a Pro Bowler before. So he ended up being a first ballot Hall of Famer because he had enough Pro Bowls. So I just wanted to thank all of you before we even started our stream tonight and before we start talking about Buffalo Bills news and everything. Thank you, Hashtag Nation. And then I guess I'll kick it over to Paul. I mean, he's been doing such a stellar job since I've been on my sabbatical. So
Can we talk about the live stream I did 2 weeks ago where I extolled the virtues of how awful a draft pick Tom Cousino was for the Bills, and literally nobody heard it? Can we just talk about that for a minute?
It was so unbelievably beautiful. I was sitting here and I took a look at it. I was notified to take a look at it, and it was just the stream with the live chat. It was just,
oh God, I got buried. I got buried in the live chat.
It was so unbelievable. We got the usual suspects: D-Wag and Jeff Farner, DLC, Bilo, Elliot, Paul. If I missed your name, I do apologize. B Lightning, John Roberts. Guys, thank you for joining us tonight for the live stream.
Phoenix!
Yep. We're going to be lighting the candle like never before. We'll be talking about a bunch of different things for the Buffalo Bills and that relate to the Buffalo Bills as well. So I am really excited to be back. I'm really excited to be in the driver's seat with Paul to be talking Buffalo Bills news with you guys. So.
Speaking of driver's seat, Mar, you saw Paula's Donuts open back up again. They've been closed.
That's a very dangerous proposal, Paul. That's a very dangerous
I
proposal.
know.
That's very dangerous.
I know. Lines are forming outside for donuts, folks. That's where we are in life.
Well, the donuts are freaking the size
They're
of
really good.
Small child's head. Those things are huge.
They're really good.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yes,
worth the
Elliot.
drive.
Yes, Elliot.
Yeah, it's
We're
worth
gonna
the
lay
drive.
it
It's worth the drive.
But I think let's start off with some fun news for the stream today. Just recently coming out, Sean McDermott said two very, very intriguing things. What's up, Carlos? So I've said two very intriguing things today. Number one, I believe it was recent news. I don't know how recent it was, but he was asked blue cheese versus ranch, and he picked your favorite, Paul. It's kind of weird.
Really?
I was gone.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thanks so much for that.
But he picked ranch. But the more interesting topic is that he was questioned about which Bill would he bring back, which famous Bill would he bring back to play on this team right now, and his answer was very, very intriguing, and it was Thurman Thomas. So obviously Bills fans may read into this a little bit too much. I thought it was an excellent pick, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, Paul.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating when you just drafted Devin Singletary last season, you just drafted Zach Moss, and you're going to spit on both their graves already by saying that you're taking Thurman Thomas. Don't get me wrong, I'm huge Thurman Thomas fan. Huge Thurman Thomas. Huge. Also, for those of you keeping score at home, I'm on my final White Claw. I had a whole case of it, and I've been slowly devouring these during the live stream. So thank you guys for allowing me to do that and not judging me too much. This is the last one. Save Black Cherry for last. Turns out that's the one that sucks the least.
You know what? You're lucky the chat's here, because I would be coming across this screen right now, and I would just be throwing that on the floor and improving your drywall. That's what I would be doing right
now. Listen, I tried to squeeze it in before the baby got here, all right? I lost the race. Okay, that's all there was. So Bilo says Daryl Talley. I got to agree with Kurt and Carlos, though. They both said Bruce. And if we were talking about a drafted player, if I'm talking like 24-year-old Bruce Smith, bring him on. I got a bunch of old fogies in my defensive end room outside of AJ Epineza, so bring on Bruce Smith. Bad things, man. Bad things.
Now, you know that the coaches in the NFL, they like using the media to try to galvanate their team, galvanate certain guys, motivate certain guys. Do you think that this possibly could have been a motivational factor? Not saying Bruce Smith, because he feels comfortable with that, defensive front. Eric Eric Washington. Everyone keeps talking about Eric Washington. I can't remember who mentioned it before, but I'll get back to that. But the other thing was this a motivational factor for both Singletary and Moss to say, hey, listen, he'd rather have Thurman on this team? Wait a minute. Or was it a message to Dable to start handing the ball off to these guys?
Yeah, I was wondering why he didn't say Keith McKellar. Yeah, you can't argue Thurman, right? It's one of those players. If you say Reed, Thurman, Kent Hall, Bruce Smith, outside of Jim Kelly, I think Jim Kelly's the one that everybody would go, pardon? Like, you bring back Kelly? Like, that's the one where you'd be like,
that's starting to storm right now.
Yeah. And in the back of your head, if you're Sean McDermott, you're like, don't say quarterback, don't say quarterback, don't say quarterback, right? That's what it is, though. How can you go wrong with Thurman? You can't. You don't go wrong with Thurman.
Yeah, you got a second-year guy, and you just drafted a rookie. It seems like the logical progression that you have there. You could, that makes sense. Hall of Fame running back on this team would be amazing.
Yeah.
Bruce, you got Hughes, who is a proven commodity in the league. You got Murphy, who, other than his contract number, people like. You got a solid defensive front. Talley, you got some stud linebackers right now. Kent Hull, you're kind of singling out Morse of anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
With the line.
Right.
So in that respect, I can understand all of that stuff. I'm surprised you didn't bring up Leotis McKelvin.
I was gonna say I'm surprised Mario didn't bang me on the Terrence McGee train because I love Terrence McGee. I love Terrence McGee. Yeah. So that's
Richard
the way it
Smith
is.
Says Gilmore.
Evil Crazy 8 said Owens, T.O. He was here. It was only a year, but that's a lot of drama. T.O. is a lot of drama.
T.O. would be a
lot of drama.
You talk about now, the way the roster is now, with how many footballs have to be, dished out to everybody. I don't know if T.O. would be happy. What was he, like 46 or something? He can still play.
Yeah. Oh, he's a monster. Okay, so let me ask you this, because that brings up an interesting point. Somebody in the comment section of
DLC, he goes, EJ Gaines. Oh wait, he's back for the 8th time. Oh my God.
I think they just put his nameplate on in Velcro, so they just take it off and put it back on whenever that happens.
Oh God.
So this is totally true. I'm very, very curious about your opinion on this. Somebody had asked in the comment section, I don't remember who it was, if they thought that Diggs would be happy in Buffalo because he hasn't really been out in the media yet. And I think it's an interesting question, right? Because Diggs really hasn't been out forward in the media since the trade, all that much. I know he was going to put in some time with Allen, but Diggs is a guy that expects to be a number one, right? Didn't get to pick his destination, right? It's not like he was a free agent. He had signed a long-term deal with Minnesota. He got traded to Buffalo. And he got traded to a team that had his, number one and number two wide receiver had career years, right? Yes. So he's got to supplant them in an offense that he doesn't know with the responsibilities he's never had before. So I'm curious, do you think Stephon Diggs is going to be happy come week 9 do you think he's going to be happy?
What's the win-loss record?
Ah, come on, man.
It's an important thing to talk about. It's
9-0.
Man, that makes my 9-7 prediction kind of awful, doesn't it? I would say that he probably was well informed by his agent about how much of a lightning rod, and I'm going to mention them first because I got my chat over here on the screen. I'm going to mention how much of a lightning rod that hashtag Nation and Bills Mafia, how they are. Because if you say little things here and there, Bills Mafia, I mean, I don't know how the fan base is in Minnesota. I don't want to insult anybody, or, Vikings fans or anything like that. But the point is this. Every little thing that you do that involves Buffalo Bills, saying nothing is probably the best thing than saying the wrong thing. So I would hope that he's advised by his agent to, okay, listen, this is a situation where there's a lot of potential on this team. It's a young roster. You're going to get paid. You're going to do all this other stuff. You got a guy that could find you anywhere on the field in Josh Allen. So let's see how this plays out before we even start to try to go out. And the fact that the whole quarantine's going on probably helped the situation that he's not out. It's probably more beneficial of that. So, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about him being the quote-unquote diva of wide receivers. I really think he's a sleeper as far as a lot of the wide receivers in the NFL right now, as far as what he says, how he plays, is off the field and on the field, play and everything like that. So, I'm not worried too much about it because I think that he's probably well informed by people in his circle to be like, listen, you just got to be careful because Buffalo, the fan base there and the media, that's a lightning rod. Even though it's a small market, it's a lightning rod.
Yeah, some great comments in the chat, too. So Joe from Believers Talk says, simple, Josh Allen is better than Kirk Cousins. I think that's a great point.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great point. Jordan Sinikowski said he made a $100 bet with his Dolphins fan buddy and saying that the Dolphins were going to be better than the Bills. He says the easiest $100 he'll ever make. Kurt says Diggs would be happy if a solid playoff team is there and and it leads in yards, not necessarily targets. I think that's kind of one of the things here, right? Is targets. You just drafted another running back. You really don't have a veteran running back in the room to speak of besides TJ Yeldon. So what is this the season where we expect Josh Allen to start getting that 35 attempts per game? Like, is this where we're going? Like, I said it a while ago. If this offseason doesn't tell you that Buffalo plans to throw the football, I don't really know what does. Yeah, right? Because everything looks like they're trying to throw the football.
Yeah, you can look at it twofold. And another thing that I wanted to bring up, which is actually your area of expertise, Paul, was the fact that you mentioned earlier he was traded here. So the Bills can get rid of him with no cost to the Bills if they wanted to. So him taking this path that he's taken, okay, I need to be productive to stay on this team and to get a paycheck. So, and I'm not guaranteed any money. It's all base salary. So if the Bills would have traded for him, then renegotiated his deal and gave him guaranteed money, we might have heard something. I don't know. I don't know the guy. I don't know all that stuff. But to your point, true. You could take it two different ways. Number one is that they draft, they trade for Diggs. You draft two wide receivers, and you already have Brown and Beasley in the fold. You're going to look to throw the ball a little bit more. Passing league, you have the defense that if you wanted to throw a little bit more, they have so many more weapons over there. But then you go to the draft. They drafted two wide receivers late, but they drafted a running back before those two wide receivers. So it seems like they want to kind of divide and probably be a more balanced team than ever before, so that teams can't really key in on Allen. He's still developing. He's still trying to learn what it's like to be a quarterback in the NFL. He didn't come into the NFL with the seasoning of like a Darnold or like Andrew Luck or any of those guys, those names you bring in that were just first-round guys that were really polished coming into the league. So in that respect, okay, we have to have a balanced attack. Do we want to throw 35 times a game? I don't know. Do you want to be like the Dallas Cowboys last year that were like 8-8 and Dak Prescott threw for almost 5,000 yards because they had to throw for 5,000 yards? I mean, I would love to have a more balanced attack, and I just don't know if there's enough footballs to go around on this team. You have so much talent now.
Well, and the truth is, Mario, you brought up a good point regarding Diggs. After 2020, if he's a headache, you cut him, cost you nothing. But you did give up your first-round pick, right?
Yes.
So that this is the risk that you're playing. But if we're talking about playing poker, a 4-year deal where you can walk away at any time and it doesn't cost you anything, I'm taking that because first round picks have fully guaranteed contracts. Like we saw that with Ed Oliver recently. If the Bills void all of his guarantees because of this recent arrest and suspension, they could walk away from Oliver almost on a year-to-year basis outside of the money that they gave him for his signing bonus. So like it's amazing how many football decisions get made with dollars attached to it, right?
Yeah.
And the Diggs deal makes a ton of sense because there's no money that the Bills owe him. They owe him nothing. This deal is a perfect deal to acquire because you owe him nothing. You owe him nothing after this season.
And the interesting thing about it, which I think was a genius move, so you trade, you're not paying any guaranteed money to Stephon Diggs. You trade a first-round pick. However, 2 years prior to that, you had 2 first-round picks. And you have to account for that in a couple of years, which you have to sign these guys. So if they would have had a first-round pick, it seems like they would have, okay, and the cap goes up roughly whatever Diggs' salary is. So even though you gave up a first-round pick, you get a first-round talent, and you're saving money in order to sign the 2 first-round picks that are staples of your offense and defense right now. I know guys don't. I'm not saying that. To me, Trey White is the staple of your defense. But I'm saying is that middle linebacker in a Sean McDermott, Leslie Frazier-led defense is the guy that has to control everything around him. Just like Josh Allen is on the offensive side, has to control everything around him. So in giving up that first-round pick, you financially helped yourself in trying to sign both of those players in a couple of years.
Right. Yeah, and if you take a look at where the draft was at the time that the Bills had their pick, right? If you're saying any available wide receiver on the board or Stephon Diggs, no-brainer
100%,
situation.
100%.
No-brainer.
And as the fallout of the draft happened, the 2 guys that you got that could sit in the fold for 2 years learning, all they do is catch. They catch everything. So what is the big deal? If in 2 years Brown and Beasley go somewhere else and you got Hodges, Gabriel, and Diggs, it's amazing. It's absolutely Rich G.
Hey,
Rich G making the 55-man
55.
roster. Thank you, sir. You are not the third string quarterback. You are actually going to be playing today.
What happens when we get more than 55 on the roster?
We'll jump off that bridge when we come to it, Paul.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair. I like the way you think.
Thank you for joining, Rich. We really appreciate it, as well as the other members of Hashtag Nation that have joined it. Like we said before, I just want to mention again, 50% of all the proceeds from the channel membership will be going to the Punt Foundation, Brian Moorman's foundation for pediatric cancer. So we want to thank you guys for doing that. We ended up raising $50 for the month of April. You guys ended up doing that, so we want to thank you. That got tacked on to the $2,000 you guys did at the end of the year last year. So can't thank you enough for that and for the contributions that you guys have done to the channel in all this time. And so you happen to you kind of mentioned Ed Oliver. You were talking about the contracts, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, Paul put up about a 20-minute video talking about the contract implications of Ed Oliver and what had happened. He had reflected back to the Leonard Fournette, Shaq Lawson fight that had happened, where the contract part, the contract voids, and financially it works out for the Bills. I hate to see the situation. You never want to see a DUI in any of that situation. I'm not proponent of that, just as Paul said as well. However, this happens to favor the Bills somewhat. Now, Oliver still has that grievance that he could fight with the league, which he's appealing as well. But Paul, does this change? Let's get back on the field now. Does this change? Because I know you went over the schedule a little bit and the games that he may be suspended. We already talked about the depth that the Buffalo Bills have on the defensive line. Does this change anything about the approach that the Bills take with Ed Oliver going into year 2?
So I think it's interesting, right? Because there's a comparison here in-house. So in that video, I talked about the Fournette suspension and how much money that could have cost him, right? And then we talk about Chris Herndon because he was in a vehicle incident, suspended for 4 games, and that impacted the Bills because the Jets played the Bills at the beginning of last season. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting how so many things revolved around the Bills, right? But I'm going to go to something that actually happened last year. It was Terrell Dodson. Terrell Dodson was suspended for the first 6 games of the season because of a domestic violence incident. Now, Terrell Dodson was a fringe player anyway, so to make the comparison between Terrell Dodson and Oliver is not fair. But what is interesting is Terrell Dodson was likely not going to make the roster anyway, but because he was suspended, he was on an exempt list, so he didn't count against the roster. He was there, but he wasn't there. He was there not getting paid. So the Bills didn't have to make a decision on him until week 7. right? What did they do? They waived him. Well, what did they do after he cleared waivers? They added him to the practice squad.
Yes.
So to me, I think a lot of this is about how Ed Oliver's going to respond, right?
Yes.
If Oliver's going to respond like an adult and say, this is my mistake, I know better, I should have done this, I reacted wrong to this, I won't make that decision again, then I think the organization's going to say, all right, we believe you. And if they void the guarantees in his contract, just as long as he doesn't, just as long as he doesn't set himself on fire in the next couple of years, everything's going to be fine. It's going to be business as usual.
Yeah.
But if Ed Oliver walks in and says, no, I was targeted, this isn't my fault, then I don't think the organization's going to feel so highly about the way he's handling that situation. And I'm really curious to see how they respond to that. And I don't know if Ed Oliver walked in and said, man, this isn't, I didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, I had a gun in my car, but I always have a gun in my car. This isn't my fault. You guys got to believe me. What do you think the organization, how would they respond to him in that regard?
The thing that because we're not affiliated with the team. So let me just put that on the table right now for everybody for what I'm about to say. Outside looking in, it seems like being McDermott in the front office, they're really good at getting high character guys. Guys that take that are accountable for their actions, guys that take responsibility for certain things. I think if he comes in and has that attitude where it wasn't my fault, blah blah blah, I think that the team's willing to trust him in a lot of the things that he's been able to do so far with the team and how he's been in the media and how he's been in public in the community and everything. He seems like a really, really stand-up kid. Plus, the other fact is this. You look at where he's going to be when he comes back, and if everybody comes back and all this other stuff, the strength of this team is the culture, and everyone wants to talk about the culture, and sometimes it's made into a punchline. However, the guys that are going to be surrounding him in that locker room, especially in the defensive line room, he's got a very solid support system that is there, that's going to be around him, that will aid him in the maturation of his process as an NFL player. And,
right.
I could throw a selfish plug out there and say, you know what, maybe a guy that he gravitates toward is Star Lotulelei, but I won't. But what I'm saying is this. If he had guys around him that had previously had incidents like that were like, it wasn't my fault, I would be a little bit more worried. However, the fact that he has guys around him that are upstanding players in the league, they're great in the community, they're high character players, I think that's going to help him once he comes back. Whether or not he may come back and say it wasn't my fault, and some guys may say, yeah, but you got to take the L on this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just take it. Right. Move forward. You have the rest of your career ahead of you. Just don't let this be what it is. Just eat it and then go on, and then we'll just move on.
Right.
So.
Right.
I think that's because of the culture they were able to build at One Bills Drive with the players that are around there. If this would have happened in McDermott's first year, I think it'd be a little bit tougher for Oliver to come in this situation, but he's already built up so much credibility within the organization. I think that's going to help him.
Yeah, and also it did come out, and Elliot brings it up, so it did come out that not only was he under the influence of alcohol, but he was also taking Adderall, which I don't believe was subscribed to him.
If you make a Seattle Seahawks reference.
Prescribed to him? No. That's a big Pete Carroll thing, right? Pete Carroll hands out Adderall like Pez. Everybody knows it. It's one of the reasons why,
Here, guys.
And yeah, it's one of the reasons why he left USC. Like, hey guys, how you doing today? I quit. I'll see you later. Right? Like, that's one of the reasons.
It's so funny.
But yeah, it's but there's a lot to unpack here with the Ed Oliver situation, right? There's just a lot. I agree. I think in all likelihood, he probably pleads guilty, right?
Yeah.
And then at that point, we're just going to see what the CBA does, because he should get 2 games, right?
Yes.
But it's the add-on process afterwards.
Yes.
Right. And we'll see what happens. Goodell was anything that tarnishes the shield of the NFL is going to get you extra games. I don't think Oliver has made quite the stir.
Yes.
As some other players in the offseason have. Giants. But there's some other players who have made a bigger problem and a bigger stir than Oliver, and that actually might be to his benefit. Because this is going to be it might just be a 2-gamer, and then you're back. But we'll see. I think a lot of it just kind of depends on how he's handling it internally with the organization. That's something we just don't know.
Yeah, if I think the likelihood, and I got a question in the chat really quick from who was it? D Wagon. I'm actually drinking Angel's Envy, the good old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. I got a little glass of ice here. That's what I got. But I agree with the chat. I think Joe said it in the chat. A lot of guys were talking. If he, like I said, if he just takes it, it's like, listen, okay, I admit I did something wrong here. I will plead guilty. This is what happened. Blah blah blah. I think that would go. I want to say that would go further with the league. However, Goodell has not been shy about circumventing what the law is. If a guy is found not guilty on a certain thing, Goodell will still do what he wants to do. Now, maybe that has been tamed in the last few years because of the things that he's done. As far as Goodell, I'm saying. However, that process being like, okay, listen, I know I made a mistake. I'm here to admit my mistake. I'm here to move on and be an NFL player in this league. I apologize for disrespecting the Shield. Give me 2 games. Let me get on with my career and let me do what I need to do. So just taking that fight, there's certain battles I think you want to pick and choose in the league, and I don't think this is a battle he wants to pick and choose.
Right. Yeah. I'm inclined to agree with you here. Even though the CBA does have an arbitrator that handles that initial review to dole out initial suspensions, it is substance abuse. It doesn't matter how you cut it up. You can say it's alcohol. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's considered substance abuse. So taking medication that's not prescribed to you, well, in previous years, I mean, 1 for the Adderall, 1 for the gun. Like this is how we'd be going. The 2 now 2 for substance abuse. So I saw Colin mention that it's likely just a 1-gamer, but it's not. It's the CBA indicates substance abuse is a 2-gamer, and then you get anything that piles on top of that.
Well, yeah, and he also had a follow-up. They said it's not Goodell handing out the punishment anymore, I thought.
That's right.
It's not? Okay.
So I misspoke. No, it's an arbitrator. Yes. Yeah, it's an arbitrator.
Let me apologize for misinforming you guys. I thought it was still him doing what he wanted. I still remember the Ben Roethlisberger incident where it was like Roethlisberger got found not guilty. He's still suspended in 4 games. I'm like, okay, all right, cool.
I see Donnybrook said bourbon makes me fight.
Yes.
Do you have a drink that makes you fight, Mario?
Yes.
What is it?
It's when I drink tequila in Mexico. You do not want the worm, senor. So here's a topic that a little Jeff Dunham reference for you guys. Here's a topic that I wanted to talk about, and talking about the quarterback situation. I know right before all of this, a long time ago when we were talking about, people wanted Andy Dalton. People wanted Andy. And by the way, Carlos Hyde signing in Seattle. I mean, I like Buffalo Bills backfield right now as it is. So Carlos Hyde signing in Seattle does not concern me until when is it? Until November 8th. I don't care until November 8th. So I mean, going on that thing. Now, listen, the Buffalo Bills decided to take a path. You like that segue? The Bills decided to take a path that they were going to draft Jake Fromm. They weren't going to go with a veteran backup to sit behind Josh Allen. They already had Matt Barkley, who, in all likelihood, this is his last year as a Buffalo Bill, I'm guessing, with the contracts and everything like that.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you end up going through this process, you have Dak Prescott down in Dallas now, who has a $8-9 million Andy Dalton behind him, looking over his shoulder because he's in the last year. And you also now, recent news, Joe Flacco heading to New York to back up Darnold. Now, would you, Bills, #Nation everything, Mario's 3 feet taller than everybody in Mexico. Thanks, appreciate it. Joe, that was funny. That's an underrated comment right there. Now, would you rather have the current situation the Buffalo Bills have with Jake Fromm behind Allen? Allen doesn't have to look over his shoulder. He can progress, mature. He can relax and be, develop as he needs to do. Or would you rather have the situation as a Dak Prescott or a Sam Darnold with, number one, the guy's got a guy that started in the league for 9 years. The other guy's got a guy that won a Super Bowl. What scenario, one for the first scenario, what we have right now, or would you put number 2 in the chat if you'd rather have Dalton or Flacco behind him? Because to me, this kid didn't come into the league with all this clout and all this maturity and all this technicality and all this other stuff. So I think by drafting a rookie, number one, helps you financially to sign every other guy on your team that you need to sign. Number 2, I think it helps his maturation process.
Yeah, so just as long as it's not Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is just the plague to every organization he touches. Every quarterback in front of him is going to die a fiery death in his NFL career. So just as long as it's not Ryan Fitzpatrick, I'm kind of open to. But with that being said, Jake Fromm's not pushing Josh Allen, right?
No.
And Fromm's a heady kid. So I think you look at that quarterback room, right? And you've got Allen, who tested really, really well for Buffalo in the pre-draft process.
Yes,
really, really well. Barkley, who was talked about as being a number 1 overall pick before he went back for his senior season at USC. And then Fromm, who honestly, if his arm was just 10% stronger, would have been a 2nd or 3rd round pick, right? Like again, another really heady kid that has a great football mind. So with Fromm, it was all about arm strength. It was really about nothing else. And that's the kind of backup that you need to bring, right? So this offense last season really struggled to push the ball vertically. We talked about it during the draft show when we did it with all the guys like Dan Barello and Drew and Icy and Ryan and Spencer and Garrett from the Cold Front Report. When we covered the draft, the talk was, wow, man, Fromm would be a great pick for the Patriots because he kind of fits that mold of what they do. Yeah. Well, who else runs a system similar to the Patriots? Buffalo.
Very.
They do.
Yes, they do.
They do.
They do.
You know, and it's a smart pick. It was a smart pick, but it's not one where I think Allen is pressed. You know, that's not the situation. I keep me away from veteran quarterbacks, man. Former starting veteran quarterbacks, keep me away from that. I don't want to have anything to do with that.
They're the most popular guys in town. Now, I'm just going to sit back until you see it. Now, when you see it, you let me know when you see it.
In the chat?
Yes.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
D-Wagon's my new best friend, just to let you know.
Oh, God.
He just mentioned a 37 Wonderlic. I was waiting for you to see it because I knew you'd see it after you were done talking.
Yeah, I saw that. And Gary's, of course, said it too.
Nation,
doesn't matter.
Nation, I have missed you guys so much. You have no idea.
Doesn't matter. Well, funny story. Brandon Bean did an interview with Pat McAfee, and McAfee got a 37 on the Wonderlic. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah, got a 37 on the Wonderlic.
Fitzpatrick got a 49.
Doesn't matter.
Remember what Vince Young got?
Like a 3? Did he get a 3? 8. Oh, it's an 8. Oh, it's Frank Gore that got the 3.
He got a 6.
Ah, God.
No, but
so bad in this game because it doesn't matter.
You can go through the annals, and Paul's argument always is that Dan Marino got like a 13. Like, it didn't matter. It really doesn't. Right. I like the test itself. Paul hates it. Now, let me just say
totally
this.
Useless.
I like it because it translates decision-making and problem-solving really quick. Now, taking a test on paper or whatever computer that you do does not transfer to the football field. I understand that. But those certain attributes of making quick football decisions, I think, are vital. That's the only reason why I like it. The other reason I like it is because it makes you so mad that it's so much fun to do. Like, that's my only response to you when you hammer me in the chat.
I know.
So, I mean, it's fun. That's the way it works. But,
we got a couple questions.
Okay,
hold on one second. Yep. So first off was, are you guys Toxic 585? Are you guys going to any games this year?
Yes.
I said the game that I want to go to is the Chiefs game. That's the game I want to go to.
I do not want to go to the Chiefs game.
Why? It's gonna be a Thursday night game. Take Friday off. You're gonna pound Drew through a table because you owe him one.
I do owe him one, don't I?
Yeah, the Chiefs game would be the game to do it.
That would be great.
Get it done.
Paul, you know how I am around chaos and mayhem. I don't really enjoy it too much. You know what I mean?
Chiefs game.
The Chiefs game is going to be. That police blotter on Friday is going to be amazing to read. I cannot wait to read that because if it ends up the same way that Dallas game did when they came back. Dude, the next day, the police blotter had one full page. I know no one reads the paper anymore, but the point is that would it be a great game to watch? Yes. Would I rather cover it with Joe or with you? Absolutely. I'd rather cover that game, do play-by-play, and whoever's not going to be at the game, I would love to do that. The game that there's two games I would love to go to. The one game is Bills at Arizona or Bills at Vegas.
Oh God. Okay.
I would like to go to those two games. I'm not a gambler. You know this. I'm not a gambler.
No.
But
No.
those two games, I would enjoy going to. I would just love to. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Not a chance.
Not
a chance. Whatever's clever says a Wonderlic doesn't help you catch or tackle. Richard Smith, McKelvin got a 2. I'm not even going to fact check you on that. I believe it. Not going to fact check that. Gotta be it. DLC, Peterman got a -2.
Did you tell me that McKelvin sounds like Nine Numb from Star Wars?
Oh, McKelvin. Oh, my God. I loved Leonis McKelvin interviews.
He was the best.
Oh, I loved them so much.
Oh, man.
Oh, I love them so much. All things Buffalo Bills with a dash of the NFL says, you've got a friend in Vegas. Hey, there you go.
I'll definitely do it. I think in as many
Is their stadium even going to be ready?
I think so. Hopefully.
Okay.
I don't know if we even have a season, because I know that's the next thing that's going to be coming up in the chat. But I know Dan Mitchell was, and I know a lot of you guys follow Dan Mitchell as well. He's a friend of the show. Puts out great, Bills content. I know that he was thinking of going. So that's that. One of the things we want to just preview and just tell you guys, and if you're one of the premium members of you'll end up seeing this tonight, because when I post it tonight, you'll end up seeing it tonight. That's one of the perks that I believe it's Pro Bowl and up gives you.
Yep, I think so.
I'll have to recheck it, or if it's the 55.
I don't remember.
It's either 55,
55 and up.
55 and up. You
You
get exclusive release of all the episodes. So when Paul and I, we do the live feed, we're done. We film our episodes for the week. You're going to get those all tonight when I create them, tonight or tomorrow, because that's usually when I end up doing them. But one of the things that we're going to talk about is one of the things that the rankings of the AFC East quarterbacks. And I can't remember, Paul, remind me who brought it up first before we even went live.
D-Wagon.
D-Wagon brought it up. Thank you, D-Wagon, for that. That's actually going to be that's the reason we're not talking about it right now, is because that's going to actually be an episode for this week, is the rankings of the AFC East quarterbacks. We're going to end up talking about that this week. That's going to be an episode. Stay tuned for that, because that's going to be pretty hysterical. Norman Eck comes in. Dan Mitchell turned me on to #sports. We're so happy to have you. Thank you, guys.
Hey, welcome. Welcome.
And I don't mean to steal a line from Mitchell, but the best way to get, hashtag is just share this stuff. That's the best thing you can do. If you don't want to become a premium member, don't worry about it. You still get the Sunday drive through and cruise control, all of our episodes a week. I'm going to start peppering, and I just bought a program for a teleprompter to break down plays for you guys. Now, obviously, due to the copyright things with YouTube, I can't show the play in itself. It violates it, but I can give you screenshots of certain things and break down those for you as well. So that's going to be something that's one of the perks of the channel membership. And the number one perk is 50% of that goes to the Punt Foundation as well.
Right.
But that's why we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about the 4 rankings of the quarterbacks. And just to let you guys know, almost every guy that ranked the quarterbacks had Allen third in the division. So,
yep. Terrible.
Just going to put that there.
Terrible.
Just going to put that there. So
what a joke. That's terrible. Ugh.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
That was terrible.
That was terrible.
Have you ever seen Charles Barkley swing a golf club?
It affects my soul.
It's so awful.
My soul hurts when I do it. It's so bad.
He's a Hall of Fame athlete. You would think bring forward would be easy. It is not. No. It is the most complex nonsense I've ever seen in my life.
He's like, stops, and he's like, however, and I've seen this on Twitter, how Mike Trout swings a golf club is inhuman.
Oh yeah.
He was at Topgolf. They filmed him at Topgolf. I think he hit it over the net.
Yeah, he was smashing them. DLC said Charles Barkley swings probably better than yours, Mario. We actually filmed an episode, a series of episodes on the golf course. Yeah, we went out and played golf.
Who said that? DLC?
Driving around. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you this. First of all, Paul's an excellent golfer. He's a phenomenal golfer, guys. You guys got to know this.
Can we just talk about this real quick? People think I'm little. I'm 6 foot. Mario's just a beast. You see me next to Mario in the car, and I look like a little kid. He's 6'5", 245, and he's jacked. What do you expect me to look like? Sorry, guys, my shoulders don't get much wider than this, right? I'm a normal sized human. I'm not a little person. People think I'm a little person.
Two things I'll say about that. Yes, Paul Paul is tall. Number one, you guys think he's small. He's not. He's not a small human. Number two, he throws probably about an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. Because I played catch with him during an episode once, and I kept getting out of the way because I didn't want to end up like that pigeon after Randy Johnson threw the fastball. So, but the other thing was that when we went golfing, other than the fact that you're an excellent golfer, Paul, that we had on one of the videos was Paul. I told him I was going to use a 9-iron and hit it 200 yards on the green and win. So if Charles Barkley can do that, and I hit it over the green, but that's notwithstanding. What's the 115 for? What'd you put in there?
Oh, my swing speed.
Your swing, yeah, it's inhuman. You got to stop. Yeah, we do have to play. That's going to be, we got a lot of things coming up for Hashtag Nation. Obviously, the beer tour that we have coming up. We're going to be going to some games. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. We want to get out and see you guys, obviously, but obviously right now during situations in the U.S., we can't leave the house. So we're going to be doing a lot of that stuff. So we have the outside the hash, inside the numbers. Obviously, we're going to be breaking that down for you this week. Paul has some more breakdowns for you guys. I'm going to have some breakdowns for you guys. I thought Mario was about 6 foot and Paul's about 5'5". No.
Yeah. No.
No.
Nope.
The fact I'm 6'5", 250, and I outweigh Paul by 100 pounds. So it's
true story.
It's just the way it happens.
True story.
It's just the way it happens. So what else do we have? Oh, we got about 20 minutes left of the episode. And we got, like I said, we got 20 minutes left. We're going to be talking a little bit about, and we want to thank everybody that joined us tonight. We want to talk about the top 5 cornerback duos. I know, Paul, you were telling me this right before we went on live. It was pretty. Paul's a baby-faced assassin, Richard Smith. That's amazing. Bryce Elder, before we get to that topic.
Hey,
Bryce
welcome to 55, man.
Thank you for the 55-man roster. We appreciate you, as well as the rest of Hashtag Nation. I want to talk about this because this kind of irked me a little bit. We had a little bit of back and forth. Top 5 cornerback duos. Now, just cornerbacks. We're not talking safeties here. So we're just going with cornerbacks. Yeah. The Bills were not in it. The Bills are not in the top 5. So could you give the rundown of the top? Do you have that with you? I
do. I have it. So first off, they were talking about this isn't combos from last season. This is top 5 this season, right? So it's not like this was top. Let's recap last season. So I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of Josh Norman. It was a system mistake for him to go to Washington. So I'm pumped that Josh Norman's here. I really am.
Yes.
I'm pumped that Josh Norman's here. So I was super I was illogically mad about how the Bills were on this list. But here's the list, right?
Time out.
First off,
before you go, D-Wagon. Welcome to the 55,
hey,
man.
Thanks, man.
I always love to give those shout outs, man. We love you guys for that. That's awesome.
So Nelson and Hayden in Pittsburgh are number 5. Okay? So they're ranked number 5.
Hayden and Nelson are 5th for Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Hayden's. How old is he at this point? He's got to be.
You know what's crazy? Before you go through this list, Hayden's he's Ryan Khalil years old. He's. The point that I want to make is, it's so interesting. The top 5 cornerback duos that you bring up, the safeties for those teams are also there's some studs safeties on those teams as well. So, you want to talk about Hayden and what was the guy's name for Pittsburgh? Hayden and Nelson for Pittsburgh, but you got that lunatic Mika Fitzpatrick in the back end for you. So, I just want to throw that out there as well.
Right. All right. So here's what we got. Also on there, the Ravens, Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters. I take issue with that. Why do I take issue with that, Mario?
Would you say now, Marlon Humphreys and Peters?
Yeah. Why do I take issue with that tandem?
How could you be a top 5 cornerback duo if one of your cornerbacks is going to be suspended?
Without a doubt. Marcus Peters 100% going to get suspended. You're absolutely right. There's just no way around it. He's going to get himself suspended sooner or later. Hey, Joe, thanks again for chilling with us. All right. Next up, Gilmore and Jason McCourty. That's number 3. It's hard to hate on that. They did perform really well. It's hard to hate on that.
Who's third, you said?
Gilmore and Jason McCourty.
When one of you can't have a top 5 cornerback duo if one of the cornerbacks, albeit Hashtag Nation might not agree, if one of the cornerbacks was the defensive player of the year. You gotta put him. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
He could have a bag of sand across from him. You got to be in the top 5.
Right. Number 2, this is the one that got me so illogically mad. Yeah. Byron Jones and Xavier Howard from Miami. With top cornerback duo, they're going to win 3 games this season.
Do you believe that Xavier Howard is a top 10 corner?
Yeah, I do.
Do you believe that Byron Jones is a top 10 corner?
I do not.
You do not.
Okay. I think he's top 20.
I go top 15 20. As a stretch.
Okay.
I go top 15.
All right, so debatable.
My point was this. If experts are saying that Byron Jones and Xavier Howard, experts now, not me, not you, experts are saying that both these guys are top 10 corners, and they're both on the same team.
Logic says,
you know what I mean? That's like Durant going to Golden State, and he hasn't even played a game there yet, and they're the best team in the league. Like, they haven't played together yet. All right.
Right.
So, and I think coaching has to go into this, Paul. Do you think them going to Flores is a big deal? No? Okay. All right. Moving on. Rolling through it.
Mario, how expensive are those contracts?
Oh my God. Kurt Luis. Sorry. Norman is 1 year older than Hayden. Oops.
Oh, sorry about that. Retract previous statement about my hate on Joe Hayden.
Let me do the Jim Carrey rewind.
All right. Sorry, all those years in Cleveland made him look older. Sorry.
It'd make anyone look older. Look at LeBron.
I know. And finally, the Chargers, Casey Hayward and Chris Harris Jr. That was number 1.
You can't really be too mad.
I know, but they suck too. They're gonna win 5 games. They're gonna win 5 games between Miami and the Chargers. They might win 7 games.
But it's so interesting what you mentioned, that the defensive backfields of those teams is still pretty solid. Like, it's the entire backfield. Defensive backfield is amazing. Like, just to go back on your previous point, Jones and Xavier Howard are going to be making about $31 million combined.
Yeah.
Like, 2 corners, $31 million.
Crazy. That's crazy.
$31 million for 2 corners. Okay. Sorry if that blew out anybody's ears. Minus. I would definitely give that a minus. That accountant should have been fired 10 months ago. But that Paul's face, Steven. He goes, Paul's face. But yeah, it's okay. Maybe some of that could be due to money. Maybe that could be due to Paul's word that he hates, and he's gotten me to hate it so much. Could be due to potential. I happen to be a big fan of the Chargers themselves. That defensive backfield I think is going to be pretty stellar, but they have to be in the division. They're playing with Kansas City and everything. How you don't have the Bills up there? I think they probably took into account the lack of consistency at the second cornerback spot. But you think Trey White negates that. Mm-hmm. Like, if they're not 5th, are they 6th? Are you telling me that the Bills are 6th? Are they 7th? Are they in the top 10? Because if you're telling me that they're not in the top 10 as far as cornerback duos, you're out of your mind.
Right.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, completely agree. And it really makes me wonder if if the fact that the safety play is so strong in Buffalo hurt Buffalo making the cornerback tandem list.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Repeat that one more time for everybody in the chat.
What?
What you just said.
What? The safety play?
Yeah.
The safety play might have hurt Trey White and insert name of cornerback number 2 over here.
But that's what I'm saying though. With the top 5, they still had stellar defensive safeties on those teams. You talk about an Eric Rowe on the back end of Miami. You talk about Mika Fitzpatrick. You talk about I think Derwin James for you got guys that are just studs back there. And if you want to talk about tandems, you're telling me, okay, let's say this. If they rank safeties next and Bills are top 5 with safety tandems, because they're not, I'm calling BS on everybody that works in the NFL. If you're telling me that they have a top 5 safety duo and then none of those teams have top 5 safety duos, you're out of your mind.
Right.
I think you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Unless you're just trying to balance it and sell, subscriptions to things. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I don't understand that. I don't understand how you can have a guy who could have been the defensive player of the year last year in Trey White because of how his numbers compared to the actual defensive player of the year.
Right.
And
and could have been defensive rookie of the rookie of the year, but that went to Lattimore.
Yes.
What more does this guy got to do? Like, what more does he have to do?
I don't know. The Dak Prescott dance on the side. Anthony John, 55-man roster.
Hey, welcome, man.
Thank you for joining. We appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. We got about 10 minutes left in the chat. But usually something that's reserved for the end of the chat, we could start it now. You want to start it now, or you want to save it to the end, Paul? Because it's been a while since we've been together. It's been a while. It has
been a while. You guys could tell horror stories of how it went. Listen, guys, I'm going to be very honest with you. Paul does not edit videos, okay? I don't edit videos. Mario typically handles all the tech stuff on the back end. So the last 2 weeks have been a challenge. So I appreciate your patience while I learned to edit videos on my 11-year-old laptop. It was an adventure. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so I got to ask you a question. Zach Moss is still not signed, right?
Not worried.
Okay. All right.
Was that the answer?
That was it. All right, good talk.
I've been here in 2 weeks. I just know what he's going to ask me.
So why are you not worried about that?
Okay, all right. But, it's... Number one, we know what the deal is. We know what the deal for a third-round pick is going to be. Yeah. For especially at the position, everything that goes on. I'm not terribly worried about it because what's the kid going to do? He finally got drafted in the NFL. He's going to be playing. Daniel Curry's unmute. Some of these contracts take time. I think if you went over the entire league, there might be a lot of guys that really aren't signed yet. I mean, do you think it's an accident that the 5th, 6th, 7th round picks are signed first? I mean, yes, please. Yeah, please let me go on the team. So that being said, sometimes the first round picks don't get signed until later. Sometimes they have some negotiations with the new CBA coming out, and maybe some of the language in it is a little funky that goes on with some of the things. I don't know. Moss, like you said, he had some injury history 2 years ago, which is something that's very new for Buffalo. They usually don't take guys that are injured. I'm pretty sure that was the narrative. They don't take guys. He's 2 years off
major injury.
He has high mileage, so he's probably trying to negotiate certain things in the deal that are more. Maybe wants $3 or $4 more million guaranteed than he usually gets. And I don't know. The thing is, I'm not terribly worried about it because of my confidence that I have in TJ Yeldon. Now, is Zach Moss TJ Yeldon? No, I have not lost my mind, even though I haven't been here. I have not.
There's about a 7-inch difference between Zach Moss and TJ Yeldon.
You know what? I'm going to bypass the "that's what she said" comment that I could just bestow upon you right now. It's a family show, Paul. Point being is, I'm not comparing Yeldon and Moss. They have very different skill sets. However, if he doesn't sign, he's going to sign. But if he doesn't sign, I have the utmost confidence in TJ Yeldon. So I'm not terribly concerned about Zach Moss not being signed. And that may be a concern for some people. I mean, we're on quarantine. There's not a lot to talk about. There's not a lot of news. There's not other sports going on. There's not other things that are going on. So it's a story. I understand that it's a story right now. But to me, on a look at Rock Pile, Yeldon, Roll Tide. On the level of 1 to 10 of how concerned I am, it's probably a 2. I don't care. Okay. I don't care he's not signed yet.
I'm at like a 4, and here's why. Okay. On the video that I talked about the Moss issue, right? There's a little bit of play. Third round picks often don't sign. They take a little bit longer because there's some percentages that you can play with from base salary to signing bonus. And honestly, if I were Zach Moss and I got drafted by a New York team, I'd be trying to get as big a signing bonus as I can because the state that he currently resides in has no state income tax. So if that signing bonus doesn't happen as high and it gets pushed to his base salary, because the dollars are the same, the dollars are set.
Yes.
But you kind of play around with where it goes, base salary or signing bonus. If it gets pushed to the base salary, he's going to lose money because of the income tax, state income tax, right? So he wants as big of signing bonus as he can get because he's going to pay no income tax on it. Benjamin Murphy, thanks for joining the 55 man.
Awesome.
But I am a little concerned because his agent is the lawyer who couldn't get Suge Knight off that murder in 2015, I think it was. So I'm a little nervous on this one. So Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I don't know what he just did, but it can't be good.
I went down a rabbit hole.
No, you did do it. You did.
I went down a rabbit hole because I saw his lawyer. I was like, oh, look, I got the name of his agent. Perfect. Let's see what he is. I'm like, a lawyer? Wait, Suge Knight? That was a half hour of my life wasted. Yeah. So there we go.
But you know what, though? I will say this, just to let the hashtag nation know. The rabbit holes that you do go down as far as contracts go are the reasons why you're able to put out some of the content that we're able to put out. And it's good because you're able to inform everybody. I really do appreciate it. I hope everyone... I Suge Knight, throwback name. Put on a belt, will ya? The eldest job is to get Dable more nachos out of the press box.
So, Mark, do you want to do this?
It's up to you, Paul. Wait, first of all, we already have one of our episodes set. I mean, we can give a spoiler for all the other episodes. We want to. We're not done. We got 5 minutes left, but I just wanted to say to everyone who joined, the membership tonight. We can't thank you enough. Phenomenal. Thank you. As the rest of Hashtag Nation, you guys, your undying support for us, watching us. Supporting the channel in every respect of everything. I mean, it's phenomenal. We already have one episode that's going to be coming out. I don't know if that'll be Sunday or Tuesday. Is the fact of the rankings of the quarterbacks in the AFC East. So I think for the next minute we'll take suggestions.
Yeah,
because we have stuff that we'd like to talk about, but like we said, this is your channel, guys. This is Hashtag Nation's channel. Paul and I are members of Hashtag Nation, so we want to give you guys stuff that you want to hear and you want to talk about. It's fine if it's vintage, if it's we had our series on Sportscaster for a while that was the What If series, and we can do another one of those if you guys would like. If you guys are like that stuff, we have some behind the scenes stuff coming up for you guys as well. A lot of different things coming out, and I do apologize for my sabbatical. I was taking care of some issues that were much needed, that needed my attention. So Paul was keeping the ship afloat very, very well in my absence, and I thank him for that. And I thank Hashtag Nation for keeping to support the channel as well. We've got a lot of new subscribers over the past couple of weeks, and Paul and I are just so happy that you guys have come along on this ride with us. So. So yeah, if there's anything else you guys want us to, how do fans affect Bills' home and away games? Do an episode on that. I think they have a huger impact on the away games. I really think they do.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, that might be an episode. That's an interesting.
So you want to stay on the other side of that? Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that might be a good one.
Do you think it's possible? Truth to Hearts coming in hot. Do you think it's possible that Zach Moss will do what Devin Single did for Frank Gore? To Frank Gore? Usurp him, you mean? You think he'll usurp him? I think because the skill sets are vastly different.
Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one
too. That's a good one too.
Moss versus Singletary. I love it.
Oh, Matt Mallory, we did a greatest all time. It was a while ago though. Do you remember that?
We did the greatest team during the drought, right?
No. We did one best three greats. We each picked three Bills players, the best three Bills players of all time. If you could add them to your team today, what would they be? And we picked three. Do you remember that episode?
Oh, I have to dig that out of the archives. I have to try to see if I can get that.
Yeah. All
right, home versus away. Okay. Because my memory ain't what it used to be.
Norman mentioned real quick, there's been some talk of certain teams being able to start to get together and work as teams. Do you think that will give certain teams an advantage over other teams that will still be in quarantine? Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up. So this is a real quick one, right? The deal is teams can get together at the facility, but coaches are not allowed to be present until every state and every team will be able to put their coaches in the building at the same time. So no team is allowed a coach advantage. While some players may be able to go to facilities and others can't, that's just what it is right now. But no coaches are allowed to be present for any of that until every NFL team is eligible to have their coaches return. So it's not that one team gets an advantage over another. Really, they can use team facilities. Some of them can't. That's just, it is what it is. But no coaches can be present until every coach can return.
I don't
Just
know
an FYI.
No, yeah, no. I don't think we officially did an episode on it. I think it was during one of the live streams we were talking about it. Was the fact that during this whole quarantine, you saw there was a reason why the Buffalo Bills went out for so many guys that in free agency that they had familiarity with and that had familiarity with the system, and because of that, maybe the learning curve isn't as steep for some guys, and they're able to come in and work right away. So I think that's huge.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Let's see here. Can you discuss what Tremaine Edmunds does for the defense that other linebackers can't? You just want any opportunity that you can get just to talk about Tremaine Edmunds. You take it. And I will be honest, I like the Tremaine Edmunds pick from an athlete standpoint, but when they said he was going to play middle linebacker, I was like, he doesn't know what the football field looks like in the middle.
Paul?
Man, you don't know what the middle of the field looks like.
It's noisy in there.
I was wrong. I will admit that I was wrong on that one.
No. I think it was a reasonable assessment. I mean, he projected better as an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fine. Like John McCauley puts it. Bryce, he runs side to sideline, 6'5". He's in the passing lanes and stuff like that. The reason why I like him so much is that we're kindred spirits. We're both 6'5", 250. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's 100.
God.
I was waiting for that. He's 100 times faster and more athletic than I am. I understand that. However, no, I just because of what the kid was able to do, probably was better projected as outside linebacker. Came inside. Frazier and McDermott, we know, are cornerback whisperers. The front line was already pretty much determined. He come in as a rookie, 19-year-old, and takes all the responsibility in the world. Gets in the ear of London Fletcher, does all this other stuff that he needs to do. The kid embraced it. I can't speak bad about him at all.
Let me ask you this. Word came out today that the Jets are looking for a first and a third for Jamal Adams.
Reasonable
for
Jamal Adams? He's a manimal. What are you talking
about? On last year of his deal, so it's it'd be that's it.
Ooh, good
last
call.
year of his deal.
I knew you were going to pull that trump card on me.
Last year of his deal.
It'd have to be a team that has at least right as of right now. I haven't checked the numbers. I apologize. Has at least $30 million under the cap, or $30 million under the cap as of right this.
He's going to set a record.
Second.
He's going to be the highest paid safety in NFL history. No doubt.
He plays 7 positions on the defensive backfield.
There's no doubt.
He's like I don't want to say on steroids because they're not allowed to use him, but he's like Tyrann Mathieu, amped up to the next level. Where'd he go?
Mathieu?
No. Jamal Adams.
In college?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
He went to LSU.
Alabama? Oh, LSU? I figured.
LSU.
Any safety early typically goes to Alabama. Not LSU. Typically Alabama. It was
LSU with
Trey. With Trey.
Okay. I think
knew that one.
That if they give up a first and a third, I'm just saying. I'm not a proponent of this. I like Jamal Adams, the player, but financially it would not work. However, if you get Jamal Adams for a first and a third, and he signed a long-term deal here, him and White's contract would be like $40 million combined.
Oh yeah, no,
they would both be $20 million apiece. You can't financially do it.
Right.
You'd have to play with 9 players on defense. It wouldn't work.
Yeah. I think you run into some financial issues, especially when you have to look at, you got Tremaine that you have to look at eventually. You got Milano sooner than that. You got Dawkins now. There's some issues there. Giving Jamal Adams that much money impacts Trey. Like it does take it takes a chunk out of Trey. And that's just it's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah. You're talking about 2 contracts that are controllable deals for 4 years. You could have 2 starters on controllable deals for 4 years for one guy. Jamal Adams is going to go to a team that is on the last leg that's willing to win, like the Colts with Rivers. I could see him going there because that's a good point. They have amazing capital, so it's I don't know. That's what. But, ladies and gentlemen, #Nation, everybody, thank you to all the new subscribers to the premium content. We can't thank you enough, as well as the rest of #Nation. We can't thank you for joining us tonight. on the live feed. We're going to have episodes all this week for you. Paul and I are just about to go shoot those after we click end on this stream. Can't thank you enough for the support and everything that you guys have done for #sports. And we got more Bills content coming out to you this week. For Paul, I am Mario. Thank you for joining us, and we are out.